Welcome back to The Changeover. I'm Marcus Thorne, and I am currently staring at a cup of press room coffee that looks like it could strip paint off a wall.
I told you yesterday, mate. You've got to learn about real coffee on the road. Stop drinking that instant stuff.
It's a statistical certainty that Marcus will complain about the coffee, Leo. My models have it at a 99% probability.
Your models can't account for the sheer despair of the Indian Wells Media Center at 8 in the morning, Elena.
Fair point. Geopolitical stability and Marcus's caffeine withdrawals are the two things my 87% accurate models still struggle with.
Well, regardless of my impending headache, this episode is powered by secondserveaces.com.
The only place you should be going for your daily tennis fix.
Exactly. You can find all my spreadsheets there, proving that the numbers don't lie, even when the players try to fake the stats.
And speaking of numbers, Elena, I hear you have a rather controversial one for us today regarding a certain Carlos Alcaraz.
I wouldn't call it controversial, Marcus. I call it math.
Oh, here we go.
Alcaraz just cruised past Cameron Norrie, 6-3, 6-4. And with that win, he officially passed Roger Federer's career winning percentage.
Wait, back up. You can't just drop that and expect me not to throw this microphone.
I think he's serious, Elena. He's gripping the desk.
It's just data, Leo. The spreadsheet doesn't have emotions.
It's a ridiculous comparison. The kid has played, what, a fraction of the matches Federer played?
Yes, obviously the sample size is different, but the trajectory is what matters.
I have to side with Leo on this one, Elena. It's great narrative currency, sure. I'd even say it helps frame his Laureus nomination.
Narrative currency? Please tell me you aren't using that phrase again.
It works. But seriously, tell that to Alcaraz's accountant. The check clears all the same. But the locker room doesn't care about a percentage when you haven't played into your 30s.
The locker room might not care, but the geometric probabilities of his court coverage against Norrie were staggering.
Norrie tried to grind him down. He tried to make it ugly.
Which is exactly what you have to do against Carlos in the desert.
Right, but Alcaraz didn't let him. Norrie was hitting these heavy, looping balls, and Alcaraz was taking them on the rise.
That's the grit I'm talking about. You can't teach that. You either have the mental toughness to step inside the baseline on a high bouncing ball, or you don't.
It's true. I was talking to one of the older coaches in the player lounge yesterday, and he said watching Alcaraz is like watching a video game on fast forward.
Because he cuts off the angles. It's simple geometry.
It's not simple, Elena. If it was simple, every journeyman I spent 1,000 days on the road with would be doing it.
Well, the reward for his geometry is a date with Daniil Medvedev.
Which is fascinating, because Medvedev is the ultimate data anomaly.
He's an anomaly in every sense of the word.
You're telling me. I was getting texts from Daniil just a couple of weeks ago when he was stranded on the tarmac in Dubai.
Wait, he was texting you from the plane?
Yeah, he was bored out of his mind. The guy is hilarious, but he's also incredibly observant about the tour dynamics.
I just hope he's recovered from whatever that walkover situation was earlier this year. A ghost match, I call it.
My spreadsheet still declared Medvedev the winner of that ghost match, for the record.
Your spreadsheet is going to be the death of me.
Before Leo strokes out, I want to remind everyone that you can find Elena's maddening spreadsheets over at secondserveaces.com.
Thank you, Marcus.
It's all part of our new initiative. I'm calling it Translucent Transparency.
Please stop trying to make translucent transparency happen. It's immediately mockable.
It sounds like a marketing term for a cheap window cleaner.
It's provocative. It gets the people going. It means we blend human intuition with AI analytics.
It means you don't know how to read my graphs, so you make up locker room stories to cover the gaps.
Ouch. All right, let's pivot before I get completely roasted.
Good idea. Let's talk about someone who actually brings the heat.
Aryna Sabalenka.
Yes. She just surged into the Indian Wells final, sweeping Linda Noskova 6-3, 6-4.
Now that is a proper tennis match. None of this tiptoeing around the baseline. She stepped up and hit the cover off the ball.
It's her third Indian Wells final. The desert clearly suits her.
The ball flies a bit more in the dry air, which amplifies her natural power metrics.
It's not just the dry air, Elena. It's her physical presence. You stand across the net from Sabalenka right now, and she has an aura.
An aura? Really, Leo? Are we measuring auras now?
Yes. You can't quantify intimidation.
Actually, you can. You look at the unforced error rate of her opponents in the first 4 games of a match. Noskova was rushing.
She was definitely rushing. Julian Price did a great tactical breakdown on this for the site.
Noskova was trying to hit lines because she knew if she left anything short, Sabalenka was going to punish it.
Exactly. That's not an aura, Leo. That's applied pressure.
Call it what you want. I've seen guys on the Challenger Tour with a Tabata aura who fold the minute they eat a dodgy kebab.
I think we can all agree that Sabalenka hasn't been eating any dodgy kebabs. She looks incredibly fit.
Fittest she's ever been. You watch her movement out of the corners.
Her recovery steps are much more efficient. Last year, she was taking an extra half step to get back to the center.
And mentally, she seems so much more settled.
That's the real difference. A few years ago, if she went down a break, you could see the panic.
The double faults would pile up.
Right, but against Noskova, there was none of that. It was clinical.
She grunts properly too. I appreciate a player who puts their whole diaphragm into the shot.
I'm not even going to try and build a metric for proper grunting.
Please don't. But seriously, being world number one carries a heavy weight. I've seen champions rise and fall under that pressure.
It's a target on your back.
Exactly. Every time you walk into the locker room, everyone is looking at you, measuring themselves against you.
Well, Noskova measured herself today, and the math wasn't in her favor.
6-3, 6-4 is a solid dusting. Sabalenka didn't really let her breathe.
So, the question is, can she capture the title? Who can stop her in the final?
If you look at the remaining draw, her win probability is hovering around 68%.
Forget the percentages. It comes down to who has the legs on Sunday.
And the nerve. You can have all the legs in the world, but if your arm gets tight on championship point,
then you're writing a check your body couldn't cash.
That is the most 1980s action movie metaphor you've used all week, Leo.
I calls, M as I sees, M.
Well, Sabalenka's checks have been cashing all week. She's playing with a kind of freedom we haven't seen in a while.
Her serve percentage alone is up 4 points from her season average.
Because she's tossing the ball slightly further into the court. It's a technical adjustment.
Which pays dividends on a slow, gritty hard court like Indian Wells.
It forces the returner back an extra foot. Noskova was returning from near the fence.
And you can't dictate play from the fence. Not against someone hitting as heavy as a Rigolina.
It's going to be a fascinating final. The desert always delivers some drama at the end of the fortnight.
As long as the data holds up, I'll be happy.
And as long as the players show some actual grit, I'll be happy.
And as long as someone brings me a decent cup of coffee, I'll be ecstatic.
Don't hold your breath on that last one, Marcus.
Yeah, mate, you're on your own with that.
The desert always delivers. And speaking of delivering...
Rybakina.
Exactly. Elena Rybakina just punched her ticket to the final.
Methodically.
Before we break down exactly how she dismantled Svitolina, a quick reminder that our daily roundup is powered by secondserveaces.com,
where the spreadsheets live.
Rent-free.
Right. So Rybakina tops Svitolina. It wasn't flashy, but it sets up exactly what the tour needed.
The Australian Open rematch.
Sabalenka versus Rybakina. Fire and ice.
I hate that cliché, Marcus.
It's narrative currency, Elena. The locker room is buzzing about it.
Look, Svitolina had a great run, but you could see it in her legs today. The grit was there, but the tank was empty.
The data backs that up. Svitolina's average rally length dropped by 2 full shots in the second set.
Because Rybakina wasn't letting her play.
Exactly. Rybakina's first serve win percentage was hovering around 82%. You can't grind from the baseline if you're constantly defending your shoelaces.
It's flat, heavy hitting. Rybakina doesn't give you the loopy topspin to work with. She hits right through the court.
Even on this gritty Indian Wells surface.
Yeah, which Svitolina usually likes. But when you've spent the last week fighting through 3 setters...
The physical toll.
It's a check a body couldn't cash, mate. She just didn't have the explosive step to get to Rybakina's forehand down the line.
And now Rybakina gets Sabalenka. My model actually flagged this exact final matchup back on Tuesday.
It's what I like to call the translucent transparency of the tour right now.
Marcus, please.
He's trying to make it a thing again.
It is a thing. The narrative is clear, but the underlying data is shifting. Translucent transparency.
Just say predictable. Or transparent. You really don't need both words.
The marketing team loves it. Anyway, let's shift to the men's side, because we have another absolute blockbuster.
Alcaraz and Medvedev.
Carlos Alcaraz is putting a 16-match unbeaten streak on the line.
Against a guy who has been complaining about the court speed since round 1.
Daniel loves to complain. He was texting me back when he was stuck on that tarmac in Dubai, remember?
We know, Marcus. You've mentioned the tarmac texts.
My point is, the guy hates feeling stuck. And playing Alcaraz on a slow, hard court?
It makes you feel stuck.
Well, Daniel is sticking himself. Have you looked at his return position this week?
He's practically in the front row of the stands.
Geometrically, it's absurd. He's averaging 18 feet behind the baseline on second serve returns.
Which works against most of the tour.
Right, because it buys him time to take a full swing. But against Alcaraz?
It's suicide.
Exactly. Alcaraz's drop shot efficiency is off the charts. If you're standing 18 feet back, the geometry simply doesn't allow you to reach the ball before the second bounce.
Not unless you've got a motorbike.
But Medvedev is fast. He's an octopus out there.
He's fast laterally, Marcus. He's a grinder. But sprinting forward 30 feet to dig out a dropper?
It wears you down.
It breaks your spirit. I've seen it 100 times on tour. You make that sprint twice, lose the point both times, and suddenly your legs feel like lead.
And Alcaraz knows it. He fakes the heavy forehand, gets Medvedev to lean back, and then just feathers it.
So how does Daniel win this? Does he have to step up to the baseline?
Statistically, he has to. If he doesn't cut off the angles, Alcaraz will run him ragged.
But he won't step up. Daniel is stubborn. He trusts his lungs and his legs more than he trusts taking the ball early.
Which brings us back to the narrative. The immovable object versus the unstoppable teenager.
He's not a teenager anymore, Marcus.
You know what I mean. The youthful exuberance.
I'll tell you what, if Daniel tries to grind this out from the parking lot, it's going to be a short match.
You think Alcaraz rolls him?
Straight sets. The kid's got too much variety for a guy who refuses to leave the back fence.
My spreadsheet agrees. Alcaraz in 2, unless Medvedev completely changes his tactical identity overnight.
Which, let's be honest, isn't happening.
No. The model accounts for stubbornness.
I love it. All right, that's going to do it for today's Roundup from the Desert.
I need a real coffee.
You and me both, mate. We will be back tomorrow to break down both of these massive finals.
Can't wait.
For all of Elena's data, Leo's locker room rants, and my incredibly popular catchphrases,
Don't say it.
head over to secondserveaces.com.
Secondserveaces.com. Get in there?
Read the full articles, check out the translucent transparency of the spreadsheets, and we will see you tomorrow. Thanks for listening to The Changeover.